solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm just got a couple preliminary matters. Number one, I'm going to object to the matter being taken videotape. And number two, it's my understanding Mr. Yatuma hasn't filed an appearance, and I'm going to object to his presence. But I'm going to let you proceed at this time with your questions.
I concur with those objections to the record.
They were just, that it was being taken videotape, number one, and that Mr. Yatuma was present, because he's not an attorney of record.
Did you notify us of any objection to your videotape? No. Okay.
I made the objection, I said proceed.
Okay. We had sent and served your client through you with the subpoena duces tecum as follow-up to things that had not been presented pursuant to court order or prior subpoena. And you've brought some things in today. I'm going to go through the list and ask you to hand me what you think satisfies the requirement to the addendum to the subpoena. The first is 2014 bank statements, including but not limited to the Bank of America account ending 2449.
I can't answer questions. You'd have to ask the witness.
Well, you just put these in front of me, so you're not...
And they're self-explanatory what those are.
Okay, then I'll just ask the witness.
No,
I mean, I don't. You've said you've brought some and some you didn't, so I'd like someone to identify what you're handing me, and you're indicating that you would prefer the witness to do it. Okay, I'm asking for December 2014 bank statements, Bank of America, ending 2449.
Okay. This is from the... No, and we don't, it's not listed here, but we do have it. It was issued to Mr. Potts by mistake.
I didn't have them, so.
How did it happen that they went to Mr. Potts?
Well, JMMI has two attorneys. Well, one, Pastor Taylor's attorney, Mr. Potts, and JMMI's attorney. And so our bookkeeper sent the bank statements to Mr. Potts instead of Mr. Pulling by mistake.
Do you have any idea of the time frame that happened?
It would have been the first time that they were requested prior to the court, I think maybe about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so...
We are trying to get him from Mr. Potts right now. I've already talked to him. I called him at home early this morning when I found out.
Okay, so that's David Potts. The next one is January 2015 bank statements, including but not limited Bank of America account ending in 2449. Is that the, well, no, that, well, maybe, would that be the same?
For January 2015?
It's 2015.
It would have been with, no, I mean, we could get those. I don't want to say that those were the ones that were sent to Potts. It depends on the time that you had sent that request, because there were two requests, and that seems to be updated since the previous one.
No, this we just even sent earlier in the week to make sure that we got what this said. This was, this goes back after the original time we set your deposition.
Okay, so if, honestly, I don't have it on.
You don't have it,
No,
so...
But we, again, we're trying to get
you
that
can get it.
information. I cannot get it. I don't have access to the accounts, but I could request that.
Who would?
Our bookkeeper,
Who's the bookkeeper?
Ashley Ware,
A-S-H...
L-E-W,
L-E-W?
L-E-W-W-A, I'm sorry, L-E-Y,
I was going to say. Okay.
W-A-R-E.
Okay, she's your bookkeeper?
She is.
And where is she housed for bookkeeping purposes?
Well, she works out of Missouri.
Where out of Missouri?
St. Louis.
No, I understand. I mean, what building?
The same building that you guys have on record, the 5209 Trail Oaks Drive.
5209
Trail Oaks Drive.
And what do they refer to that building as?
JMMI.
Yeah, but there's the residential.
No, it's not called residential.
The other one's the residential.
That's correct.
The large.
Let her finish the question before you answer, okay?
The large house, but does this house on Trail Oaks have a name that you refer to it as?
JMMI.
Okay. It's in a residential center. residential kind of subdivision, isn't it?
That's correct.
Does she live there?
She does not.
Okay, does anyone live there?
There are people that live there, yes.
That spend the night and live there daily?
That's correct.
And who is that?
Staff,
In their names, please?
is that necessary?
Yeah. I'm not going to contact them. That's not the issue.
Okay. Angel Jones,
Angel Jones? And who is she?
she's on staff. She's a volunteer.
What, a paid staff member?
No,
But she resides there.
she does.
Okay, and who else?
Bashira
Want to spell that? one?
Hoke. It's Bashira. Hoke, Hoqque.
Hoqqe?
It is.
Might be the only word that has that. No U and 2 Q's. Okay, so she's on staff?
She is.
And is she paid?
She's not.
And who else?
And that's it, really. Marcia was living there. Marcia no longer lives there.
What's Marcia's last name?
McDonald.
Is she still on staff?
She's volunteer staff.
But she resides elsewhere?
She does.
Are Angel and Bashira related?
They are.
How are they related?
They're sisters.
And what generally are their duties?
Bashira handles opening mail. She does, answers phones. She's basic receptionist.
Okay. Oh, did you say Angel did that?
No, Bashira does that.
And what does Angel do?
Angel does usually product orders, any type of product orders that come in, and any type of ordering new product, getting the new covers and things like that done.
Okay. So they live there and operate that business. Your GMI business is out of there.
Correct.
Does Deborah Frazier ever go to that building?
She does.
And for what purpose?
She comes down there to answer phones, just be a part of the volunteer part. We get a lot of prayer requests that come in, and people that ask for prayer, and Deb will answer the phone and pray for people.
Okay, so we'll go back to that. But is it fair to say that when Miss Frazier goes there, that's where she goes to St. Louis? That's where she would go to work.
She does, yes. Mm-hmm.
Any other location that she would go to work?
She doesn't, unless it's to the Northeast headquarters in Taylor,
In
Michigan.
Taylor? Okay. All right, we'll get back to that. Back to the documents. The third thing on the addendum, excuse me, is any and all documentation evidencing JMMI deposit information that reflects all donations made by Deborah Frazier from April 1st, 2014 to the present, including but not limited to the following deposits made into JMMI Bank of America account ending 2449. The $5,000 deposit made on July 14th, 2014. The second $5,000 deposit made on same date. The $8,120 deposit made on October 6, 2014. The $7,548 deposit made on October 6, 2014. And the $6,943 deposit made on the same date, or any and all deposits where Deborah Frazier donated money to the Rosh Hashanah offerings. The deposit made on or around December 10th that reflects $1,000 to the Crusade donation, as indicated on the giving statements that were produced by JMMI. So it's basically documentation that you have of donations that Deborah made. So do you have those documents?
Whatever documentation I know that we supplied in the bank statements prior that showed the wire transfers that were done, any wire transfers that were done, and any deposits that we had record of. So any additional, like, bank statements and things like that, I mean, or copies of the checks, no.
Well, we asked you to bring those specifically so that you could testify from them today.
And I understand, I do not have access to that bank account myself. I'm not the one that has access to it.
Isn't that in the information we've already turned over?
It is, yes, sir.
I don't believe it is, not
Yes, sir, it
completely.
is.
There were,
Well, some of the items, there is no information to show that it was specifically donations made by Ms. Fraser, which is part of the problem. There's no way necessarily knowing.
well,
You
don't
can
you
ask
keep,
her how she,
don't you keep record of donations?
If somebody gave a donation and they put their information down on an offering envelope, we keep record of that. And that was supplied to you guys.
Do you,
A list of donors that you guys had requested or asked for, we submitted that to you. If they did not complete an offering envelope, then I do not have that information.
you don't take what's on the check?
If they have a check, yeah, if they wrote a check.
If
But
there's
other than-
cash in there,
If there's cash and they put it on an offering envelope that was them, it's recorded, and you would have been supplied that on that donor list.
all right, we'll get back to that. All paperwork regarding Deborah Fraser's financial pledge made during the Jam of My June Crusades. Do you have that?
Her pledge made,
Yes. That's what it's noted on your documents.
I don't have a pledge made. What I have is whatever was supplied to you guys in terms of what she gave, the list of donor information that she submitted, and the copy of the bank statements.
Well, you have a notation that it's, I think, seed money from the
I have, or JMMI.
JMMI, someone through you.
Do you have a copy of that? Can I see that?
Yeah, if you want to go on the right. Can I see that? That's one of them. You can go off the record for a minute, just so I can.
We are going off the record. It is 9:33 a.m. We are back on the record. It is 9:35 a.m.
So you presented, I'm going to use this, you've already marked.
well, those are marked by your court reporter when you
Yeah,
were
I know.
stuck out here. So, I mean, they
Yeah.
have the original markers on them somewhere.
I know, that's why I was seeing if these are, no. Well, I need to have a exhibit marked, and I'm not sure what you did in terms of marking the exhibits from the date February 12th when I wasn't there, what system you used, do you know?
It should be numbers, and they should have her name and the date on them. So if you want to remark them for today, we can start with number
We'll do
one
that.
and redate them.
We'll do that. So, in terms of number 3, when we're talking about the bank statements regarding the deposit information from Deborah, you're saying your answer to that request is?
Well, we've supplied you with the list of donor information that you required of all her givings, but I also supplied you when we met here, or met at your office for the
Right.
last, that you were already, you were unavailable
I was
that day.
in
You were
court.
here in court. We had submitted a statement of Deborah's givings for the previous year that was issued that she would file with her taxes.
Okay, you refer to things as promise seed or pledges in some of your ledgers.
Okay, I don't do the ledgers.
Who does the ledgers?
That would be Ashley Ware, and I didn't document that way, so I am not sure.
How is it that a pledge from June that's not received until the future month, July, how is that documented?
Well, it depends. I mean, if somebody calls in and says, I want to pledge this amount, but I don't have the money, we write it down, and typically it's documented that way.
Write it down in what?
Well, they write it down on a spreadsheet or some type of a ledger. But it depends on who they call into, who they speak to. And right now we're in a situation where we're trying to become more organized. So I'm not saying that we have everything organized.
Anytime I asked David Taylor any questions about finances, he deferred to you and said that you know all this.
Okay.
So in terms of promise seed donations, explain to me, this is a Crusade promise seed from Deborah Frazier. That's how it's notated on the ledger. Explain what that means.
I would have to talk to Deborah to find out exactly what she meant by that, or Ashley to find out exactly why she wrote it that way.
Who's Deborah?
Frazier.
Oh, you'd have to ask. Deborah would have noted that?
Well, if she put it down on a sheet that it was a promise seed, I would have to ask her, what do you mean by this promise seed? I don't know.
You don't know if Deborah did that?
I honestly do not know.
Where would this kind of note-keeping or bookkeeping be done?
It depends. If she attended services in Taylor, it would have been done in Taylor. If she attended services in St. Louis, or if she came to St. Louis and she made her pledge there, it would have been done there.
Where was the June Crusade?
I would have to look at the calendar. We have multiple crusades a year. Do you have the date?
No, I don't. It just says June Crusade Promise.
Was it 2014?
Right.
Okay, it would have been in Taylor.
And you're saying that Deborah Frazier could have made her own notations on the donations?
It's possible.
So when I ask you for all information regarding financial pledges made from Deborah for June, including donation checks, tithing envelopes, deposit tickets, paperwork showing how much cash was received, deposited, who donated, the deposit ledgers, general ledgers, notes, spreadsheets, whatever would document her donations from April 1st to 2014. What did you bring in satisfaction of that?
Well, I know that we had supplied the bank statements prior to this. We've supplied our list of donors, and I also gave you what Debbie gave for the entire year on what we supplied to her to file with her taxes. A lot of times we
What's
do.
What's the referenced, I forget what you call that, IRS documentation, what is referred to by number?
Her statement. I'm not sure.
Are you talking about the 990 form?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be on the 990.
Just the total amount?
The total amount would be on the 990 if it's over a certain amount.
And you didn't bring any of that?
No, we've already supplied all that. Now, in terms of the envelopes and things like that, if I had it within my possession, I would have. I don't have that.
Who has it?
If we had it, we would have supplied it to you, is what I'm saying. We do not have it.
You don't have deposit tickets?
We have deposit tickets that were supplied in the bank statements, or should have supplied, but that was sent to David Potts. That box of...
a box?
It was a box of bank statements that you guys required, like 5 stacks of all of our bank statements for like 3 years.
And so Mr. Potts has those?
We sent it to him. We sent him by accident, as I stated earlier.
You want to go off the record for a second?
We're going off the record. It is 9:41 a.m.
This is going to make...
We are back on the record. It is 9:55 a.m.
Mr. Poling, you were finding out about the documents?
My assistant's going to pick up the documents from Mr. Potts' office and bring them out here.
Any idea time frame?
Probably an hour, roughly.
but from what Mr. Potts said, they're not indexed or organized in a meaningful.
Some of them are. They are broken down according to, there's one document related to a letter of credit, he said, and there were some credit card statements, and then some bank statements, but he didn't analyze to see what they were
Okay.
organized or whatever.
Okay. All right, back to the question on number 4. So, in terms of pledges made during crusades or whenever that would have happened, what is your answer in terms of where those documents would be?
What I'm saying is it may not be a document. If Debbie verbalized that she wanted to do a pledge to, and that was documented or written down, oh, she wants to do a pledge, let me take that down. If she called in a pledge, that would have been documented that way. I don't know how she made that pledge.
But did you look for that?
I did, yes, I looked for it to see if there was any physical documentation that showed a pledge. I do not find anything. I could not find anything that said a pledge.
What is seed referring to?
It's a same. The Bible refers to sowing a seed, so it refers to any type of contribution or something of that nature.
And what's a promise seed?
That she's something that she would guarantee. I promise to sow this seed.
Okay,
Or
and
this gift.
okay, we'll get back to that. But you didn't bring anything that relates to those promise seeds, pledges.
I brought you what I had, and I do not have those things.
Well, if somebody
in my
said I'm going to make
possession.
a promise seed or pledge at the June Crusade, there'd be some evidence of that, wouldn't there?
Well, it's possible you have the evidence. If it's written down on that, it's possible somebody called. She may have called and said, Ashley, I want to make a promise seed, and Ashley typed it in, and that's what you have there.
No, actually, this is from July when it arrived, but we don't have anything that shows in June when she made the promise or the pledge.
And I don't have any of that either. So
Who
that's what I'm
would?
saying. I don't know if anybody would, because I checked. I asked everybody. Nobody seemed to know what it was. I believe it was a conversation that Debbie actually had with Ashley and said, this is for my promissory. But that is, I don't know.
And who is Ashley where?
She's our bookkeeper.
And where is she physically?
She's
House?
physically in St. Louis, but she's currently bedridden because she's pregnant.
Where does she work out of?
You asked that earlier at the 5209 Trail Oaks.
She works at the same, with Angel and Bashira,
She works there, yes.
but does not live there.
She does not live there.
All right, then we asked for all paperwork reflecting the $7,500 deposit made into the bank account ending 2449 on August 27th, 2014. Not limited to copies of the checks, tithe envelopes, deposit tickets, paperwork, showing how much was deposited, deposit ledgers, general ledgers, notes, spreadsheets, anything and all information that will show the source of the $7,500 donated to JMMI on August 27th, 2014. And what did you bring?
Here we go.
I think you took it back. I think was it one sheet?
Here it is.
Okay, can we have this marked, please, as, is it 2 sheets?
No, these are 2 separate things.
That's why I said, is it 2 sheets? Who does the banking?
Referencing what? Banking?
Depositing checks.
That would be La Marcia McDonald.
Is La Marcia?
It's La Marcia. Ashley Ware will make deposits.
you supervise and oversee these people.
I do.
Mark them both 2-1 and 2-2, just so that they get stickers on.
I'm sorry, where'd you make it?
They're both 2-1 and 2-2, just so they're not, if they get lost, we'll know they're part of the same.
I'm going to ask you to identify deposition exhibit 2-1 and then deposition exhibit 2-2.
Oh, I see.
Okay, the deposition 2-1 is a counter credit. Looks like it was a deposit made for $7,500 on 8/27/2014.
And at what bank
Bank of America.
and where?
Now that's unsure. They have Missouri circled, but it says out-of-state counter deposit, so I'm not sure.
It says out-of-state counter deposit.
That's what it says here.
Okay, and can you identify the other one?
This is Exhibit 2-2. And this just shows a summary of the counter credit that was done.
Credit for what?
The $7,500.
$7,500.
Is that related to 2-1?
Yeah.
Is it?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's not stated the same.
What's your understanding of what a counter credit is?
That somebody would go in and make a deposit over the counter.
Is it unusual that there would be one check deposited at a time?
Meaning deposited by whom?
JMMI.
It's possible. JMMI we get offerings all the time, various, and we get offering today, and if it's one check, we'll make that deposit. If we get 5 offerings or 5 checks, we'll make the deposit with all 5 checks. So it varies.
Is it typical or very frequent that you have a one check deposit?
It's hard for me to ascertain. I mean, it's frequent. It happens often. I mean, we get maybe one person will wire money, or one person will call in a donation, one person will give a credit card information.
But those wouldn't be deposits.
One person will make a deposit. It does happen.
And is Exhibit 2-1 the deposit slip, or what is that?
It's not the deposit slip. It looks like it was a statement that we pulled off of the online banking that showed that it had been deposited, what it was. It says a counter credit, the amount it was, and then this is the information that we received. It's listed on there. I don't know.
What's your understanding of that notation here, according to the bottom of the...
Whoever deposited this account or this money would have probably filled this out, because this came from them. This is a copy of their deposit.
Do you recognize that handwriting?
I do not.
You don't know that to be Marcia's or Ashley's?
That's not Marcia's, nor is it Ashley's.
Who else would do deposits? Is it yours?
Anybody can, no, anybody can make deposits. If they have
Anybody?
if they have your account information, I make deposits to, my daughter's account, my mom and dad's account.
No, I'm asking who within your organization has authority to handle the money and make deposits.
Well, anybody can make deposits. If anybody has your account information.
I'm not asking theoretically. In your organization, who do you authorize to carry the money to the bank or make the deposits?
Well, if somebody made a deposit on our behalf and it was our, account, we received the money in, then Marcia or Ashley would go to the bank and make that deposit. If we did not receive the money and somebody else made the deposit as a donation, anybody can make that donation.
How would
or
they get your
deposit.
bank account number?
They can call and ask for it if they want to make a deposit.
Someone could call your office and ask for your bank account number.
Absolutely.
And you would give that out?
Well, it depends. It depends on who it is. It would depend on who it is. If they have that information previously, if it's somebody who's wired money into our account, they would have that information. We have a number of people that have wired money into our account that have given large donations over the past.
Okay, we'll get back to that. All documentation, this is number 6, which evidences Deborah Frazier's contribution of funds towards the cost of JMMI's legal bills.
Okay, I don't have that she supplied anything for our legal bills. I mean, I have money that we issued checks directly into whichever, attorney that we hired.
All right, so you don't have any documentation that she's provided you with payment for the legal bills?
No, we've paid our own legal bills.
All right, we'll get back to that. All right, these were items that were previously subpoenaed or ordered to be produced and have not been received. Some of them may be duplicative of what we just talked about. Bank of America statements for account ending 9203.
It's these ones right here.
Is there any reason why we didn't get these before?
Well, it's a canceled account. We don't have, it's no longer in existence. It's closed account.
Is it your understanding those are 2013, 14, and 15?
There wouldn't be 2015 because it's a canceled account. It's a closed account. And it's my knowledge that you guys asked for, the bank statements that we had on record. So whatever we had for 29203, we supplied to.
Did you, why did you cancel that account?
I don't have that knowledge. I don't know.
You weren't involved in that?
I was not.
Who would have been?
I don't know.
Is this before? Well, let me ask you, when did you start working for them?
I'm volunteer, and I started working for them December 2012.
You started being employed?
I was volunteer, December 2012.
Okay, and at what time did you become a paid staff member?
I'm no longer a paid staff member, but I became a paid staff member April of 2013
Till what time?
till January of 2015.
And why are you no longer paid?
It was a mutual decision that I would go volunteer to help with the funds of the ministry.
Ms. Rennie, are you going to mark those documents that we just turned over, or at least would like the record to reflect that we've handed the records on regarding the account 9203? An acknowledgement to receive those records.
Mr. Yatuma is going through them to see what they are, and then I will. I didn't want to take the time to tally them up on the record right now. Were you replaced with anybody on staff?
No, I'm still in the same capacity I was before. I'm just not being paid.
Okay. The next one is bank statements from First Cloverleaf checking and line of credit accounts.
It's my understanding, you, myself, and Mr. Poling were going to supply because it's a line of credit, the receipt, which we did and which I submitted to the day that I showed up for deposition, the day that you were here in court, and was unable to make that.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Say that again.
We agreed, us three agreed, that we would supply you with a statement, the line of credit statement that showed this is a line of credit.
I didn't
The
agree to
coupon.
anything because I wasn't there.
No, what she's talking about is, it's not a bank account, it's a line of credit. And there's going to be a statement, and I believe, based on my conversation with Mr. Potts, is that there is a document there that shows that it's a line of credit.
A coupon, right, line of credit. We submitted that. That was submitted.
What was submitted?
That's the statement or whatever we had for the first clover leaf was submitted the day that we met.
Oh,
It was submitted.
You said that was turned over in March, when we were there on February 11th?
That's correct.
Okay. So you should have that information.
do you have a copy of that I can look at?
Michelle, look at those.
Here, go off the record for a minute.
We are going off the record. It is 10:11 a.m. We are back on the record. It is 10:16 a.m.
All right, so the Cloverleaf checking and line of credit accounts, are you telling me that there's no checking?
It's a line of credit, so it's a rolling account. So you take, if any money is withdrawn, we have to pay it back. It's a
No, I
line of
understand
credit.
that, but would it be fair to say that they would give you checks?
I know we can request checks to go against the line of credit.
How do you access it
We make transfers.
from that account to another account?
It would be anything from our main expense account that you would have record of. We would send payments or wire money to our line of credit to make the payments on it.
Okay, but how do you access the line of credit?
Ashley accesses it online
Okay, and transfers?
and transfers.
Okay. So you would have bank statements from that showing what?
She said we do not have bank statements. Ashley stated we do not have bank statements.
How is that possible? Because if you have a line of credit, you have to know how much you owe.
We do. We get a coupon, and that's what we submitted that shows our constant rolling balance of whatever it is, what we owe against it, and what our, the amount is.
They don't document how much you take in any given month?
It's listed on that. I know online we can check it. She's able to go online and see what balance we have or what's owed or what we need to pay in, but we don't write checks against it.
No, I understand there's not checks written, but I don't understand why I don't have those statements if they're available online.
The statements aren't available online. She said she could do screenshots.
She can't print out what she accesses?
Screenshots is what she told me last night. That's what she said that she's able to get. Screenshots.
What does she mean by screenshots?
Meaning that she can pull it up online and she can do a print screen of that or whatever
Right.
it is online.
She could
and
print it
those
off from online.
She can.
Okay,
yeah,
so why don't I have that then?
Well, we did request it last night. I did request it of her last night. That is correct.
Last night, but it's not here, right?
Well, I've been taking care of other things.
Okay, when can I get that?
Oh, I requested it of her last night, and I know that they were working on that this morning, but I don't know the progress because I'm on my phone.
Oh.
Before we break, we'll check on it for you.
Okay, IRS Form 1023, the application for tax exempt status.
I do not have that.
Who does?
I do not know. It was before my time. I've looked all over for it, and I cannot find it.
No one has that documented anywhere?
I don't have record of it. I've looked everywhere for it. I cannot find it.
will you request a duplicate of it from the IRS?
I'm going to object to that. There's no obligation to do it.
I think they'd want to have it themselves. A current list of all assets and liabilities for JMMI.
She would have on the balance sheet that was previously supplied to you.
Current. We don't have anything current.
Right there.
This is our balance sheet.
Okay, so this one we haven't been supplied with, I don't believe. Why don't we mark this as the next exhibit?
It's going to be number 3.
I'm going to ask you to identify that, please.
Exhibit number 3, it's a balance sheet as of December 31st, 2014.
For JMMI?
Correct.
Well, this says on here, First Cloverleaf checking.
Well, Ashley wrote that in there. It's not a checking account, it's a line of credit. And when you get the coupon, you'll see line of credit.
When I get the statements.
Well, you'll get the statements. It'll say line of credit. It's a line of credit.
I'll get back to that. All right, the next item was JMMI meeting minutes that were produced, were incomplete and just appear to be a blank template. Do you have the actual meeting minutes as requested, not just a generic outline?
We provided you what we had with the meeting minutes. I'm not quite sure what you mean by generic, by whose term. I mean, we supplied you with the documentation.
You don't have anything as to what actually occurred at the meeting?
We supplied you with what we were required to under 501c3 to maintain meeting minutes, and we did. And I supplied you with what we had.
And that's all there that exists?
That's all that exists, to my knowledge.
The JMMI Bank of America bank statement for November and December 2014, ending in 2449. Greg, is that what you're looking at?
No, I'm gonna get 9203.
9203.
She said it was closing 14.
Oh, that's right. So do we have 2449?
Those are the, which one is that one? 249. This one, I believe, is the one that's coming with, there were 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the ones that's coming with Mr. Potts in the box.
All right, number 4, JMMI documents previously produced, but the ones I'm going to tell you about are the ones that are missing from what was produced. December 13th and December 2013 and January 2014 bank statements from Bank of America, travel account number ending 3526.
And that's also coming with Mr. Potts.
January 2014 bank statements from Bank of America for account ending 0397.
And that also is in the box.
In October 2013 bank statements from Bank of America, account ending 5623.
As well, that's also in the box.
Okay. Are we ready to mark those, Greg?
Yeah, we can. They're just out of order, since I'm trying to put them in order.
Okay, well, do you want to just tell me when you're ready so
What
we
do you
can?
want? You're on 12 or 13? You're on all of them.
I,
So I have 13 available.
okay, we can maybe just go off the record for a second.
We're going off the record. It is 10:24
Yes,
a.m.
ma'am.
I just, if you can,
This is
we are back on the record. It is 10:34 a.m.
Let the record reflect that the materials from Mr. Potts have arrived. They're sitting in front of Ms. Brannon right now.
And we're going to go back to exhibit number 4 and ask you to identify it.
Number 4, this is a bank statement for 9203.
And from what time frame?
I'm looking to confirm.
I think we can stipulate, because Mr. Yutuma went through them, that it's 2012, 2013, and January of 2014.
Okay?
Okay. Yes, so January 2012 to all the way up through January 2014.
And it's your understanding that the account was closed at that point
That is correct.
and zeroed out?
That is correct.
Now, with those statements, there were these other documents that I'm not marking yet, but I would ask you to tell me what they are so I can determine whether to mark them.
This isn't the, those are the things that I emailed you.
Mm-hmm.
Did they go with 9023?
To see them, I'm not sure.
Can I see them for a second?
Nope, this is 92. This is 9. Right here it looks like it's 9 or 2449.
It's a check number. I'm checking
It's
the
not a
account
check.
numbers.
Even though they call it that, that's an account number.
So that's all transfers.
Right. Oh, these are from- When you gave me some documents called Joshua Media Ministry Reconcile Report for Economy Checking 9203. And it has a long list of transfers. What's your understanding of the transfers?
Let's take a look at it.
Who prepared those documents?
I honestly do not know. I would have to check with Ashley, because this was these in the documents that she printed off.
This one.
Okay, let's mark all of these documents with wherever we are next.
One document.
Right, we're gonna. I've been thinking that.
Yeah.
It's exhibit 5.
Okay, can you just briefly indicate what Exhibit 5 is? They're all attached.
Right, I understand. Exhibit 5, however, I am not sure why these were supplied. I do not know.
Okay, is it related to account 9023?
This doesn't have 9203 listed on it.
The
so
top sheets,
This top sheet does not have 9203 listed on it,
right?
so I'm not sure.
Okay, the other ones underneath it are with regard to 9023.
These documents, yes, appear to be reconcile reports for 9203.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And somewhere along the way, this morning, a few minutes ago, Mr. Poling handed me a document. Can you identify that, please?
This is our notice of payment due for our line of credit for Cloverleaf.
Okay. I don't have this as an exhibit from February 12th.
I don't know, that one specifically was not. I would
Okay.
absolutely agree.
Okay. Can we mark this also? Oh, probably have to get a copy. I assume you want.
No, you can mark them. Because we're gonna turn them all over to the court reporter, and then she's gonna make any copies of them. So that's exhibit 6.
Yes, what was just identified as Exhibit 6. Let's see. Ms. Brannon, I think you just answered before, but how long have you worked for JMMI?
Since December 2012.
And what is your title there?
Executive officer.
And what's your job responsibilities?
Overseeing the business aspect of the ministry.
And Mr. Taylor testified that you also oversee his personal finances?
That is correct.
And where do you reside?
I currently live at the Trail Oaks as well,
Oh, you do also? I thought I asked if anybody else did, and I was told no.
separate from me.
Oh, you just didn't include yourself?
Well, I lived there recently, yes.
When's recently?
As of February 1st.
Oh, 2015?
Correct.
Was that sort of a trade-off for the lack of compensation?
No, I voluntarily went there until my apartment's ready.
Oh, all right, so you plan to move somewhere else?
I am,
And when would that be?
as soon as my apartment's
Like
ready.
ballpark?
Right now, they're looking for an April 1st date for my apartment to be ready.
Okay. And how did you meet Deborah Frazier?
She attended one of the services
Where?
in Taylor, Michigan.
And do you typically attend those also?
On occasion, not all the time, no.
And do you have any idea how Deborah Frazier became acquainted with the Taylor facility or JMMI in general?
I believe she's through a relative or something, I'm not sure.
Did you ever request a contribution or donation from Deborah Frazier?
I never did.
Did she talk to you about contributions and donations?
I mean, no, she really never did.
She never talked to you about them?
I mean, we just didn't talk about donations. Talked about her children, her life,
And what did she say about her children and her life?
how much she loves them. As of recently, how, it's hurting her not to be able to spend more time with them.
Did she tell you that she has supervised parenting time?
She did mention it.
Are you aware that there are contempt proceedings pending tomorrow?
I've heard, yes,
And how did you hear?
through Debbie,
And what did she tell you?
that there were contempt of court proceedings filed against her.
For what?
She didn't stay.
She didn't tell you why?
We didn't get into it. I asked not to be involved.
You told her you didn't want to know?
I told her I didn't want to know.
In the year 2015, have you ever talked to Debbie about any of her donations?
No.
Did Debbie ever tell you that Jesus appeared to her and told her to give money to JMMI?
No.
Has Mrs. Fraser shared with you any of her visions or dreams that she has experienced about the Lord or God or Jesus?
She's shared with me a dream or two.
What were they?
I honestly don't remember.
You don't have any recall at all?
No, I don't remember her dreams. I get so many people who tell me their dreams. I honestly don't remember.
A lot of people come up and tell you about their dreams?
Well, we have a lot of people who will call in and they ask for prayer, and we're ministry, so people have dreams and they are impacted by them. They do call in quite often for them, yes. Absolutely.
Including this weekend?
Oh, to be honest with you, yeah, we've had probably about 5 people over the course of this past week that have called in for their dreams, that have had dreams.
And what can JMMI help them with in terms of their dreams?
Well, we're ministry. I mean, it's my religious belief, as that I know it is others, that we believe that Jesus does, or people do come to, the Lord does come to you and speak to you in dreams. As stated in the First Kings, where he talked about, he appeared to Solomon at night in a dream and a vision by night. And so I definitely believe that. And they come and they talk to, they believe they've had dreams, one thing or another. I've had people this week specifically say that they've had a dream that one person had a dream that their car was being stolen, and 2 days later their car was stolen.
Okay, can you give me a time frame, just generally, of when Deborah talked about her dreams?
I absolutely could not possibly tell you that. I do recall we've talked about it, or she's mentioned she's had dreams, but I don't remember when.
She talked to you about meeting Ben Franklin in heaven?
No.
Okay. Has she talked to you about her kids being seers?
Seers?
Right.
No.
Has Deborah told you that she thinks she can predict the future?
No.
Who else would Deborah have potentially talked to about her dreams within the JMMI ministry?
Jane Object Forum Foundation.
You go ahead.
Very,
Pardon me?
very vague. You go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea who she would have told.
Do you have any knowledge if she and Mr. Taylor spoke about them?
I would guess not,
Why would you guess not?
because Mr. Taylor just doesn't give himself, he doesn't have that time. And to my knowledge, they don't speak like that.
Did Mrs. Fraser ever tell you that she has seen Jesus face to face?
She has not.
That's one of the tenets of JMMI's ministry, is it not?
That is correct.
Have you seen Jesus face to face?
In a dream, yes.
But in a dream,
In
not
a dream.
in the corporal sense of being in here.
No.
So you consider in a dream to be also face to face.
Absolutely.
Is it once?
I've had several dreams of him.
Several of
Of the Lord coming to me in a dream. Would you like me to tell them to you?
no, I just want you to know if it's God the Father, God the Son, the Holy Spirit. Who
I've
we're
had
talking.
dreams of Jesus coming to me. I've had dreams where I've audibly heard the Father talk to me in a dream. I've never seen him.
Has Mr. Taylor ever told you about his face-to-face meetings with the Lord?
Whatever conversation that Mr. Taylor and I have, he's my spiritual father. He's my pastor. And I believe that would be protected under the pendant.
I'm asking about him telling you, not you telling him. Things he has disclosed to you about having seen.
Again, whatever we've discussed
Just,
personally has been, if I've talked to him about it or he's relayed anything.
I'm not asking what you've discussed. I'm just asking what he has said to you, not what you said to him.
Counsel, I'm going to object to the question because she's absolutely right. If there is a conversation in which the Pastor Taylor talks to her in conjunction with a give and take, those are privileged communications.
Has
It's
Mrs.
also, by the way, it's also irrelevant and immaterial what their conversations between Pastor Taylor and
I don't agree with you, but I'm going to move on.
Okay.
Where does Mrs. Frazier stay when she comes to St. Louis?
She has stayed at, mentioned she has stayed at a, what do you call it, it's not a hotel per se, like an in-home suite type thing. In-town suite or something like that.
Say that again, a what?
She stayed at like where there's long-term stay.
Okay. Executive suites or something
Something like that.
Okay.
I don't know the exact name, and she's also stayed at the Trail Oaks on occasion.
When she is working for the ministry in some capacity, when she's in St. Louis, where would that be?
She would work at the 5209 Trail Oaks.
You talked a little bit about what she does when she's at the offices in Missouri. You said she answers the phone.
She does.
And what else?
She's mailed letters, done mailings, stuffed envelopes.
Clerical?
Clerical.
Anything of a religious nature?
I know that she's prayed for people, as I stated earlier.
Would that be somebody that has called in?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say the property at 5209 Trail Oaks in Blackjack, Missouri, what is that primarily used for?
We have people who live there that I stated before, and we do business from that area out of it.
Do they pay rent?
Yes.
Are there people that come and go from that? Because it's a residence, isn't it?
It's a residence, but there are people that come and will help out, and volunteers come out and do millings, or if we have big millings or whatever, they'll come out and do
So
that.
people would come and go to that address?
Mm-hmm.
You
Is that a
don't,
yes?
Yes.
you don't have any problem with the neighborhood objecting to a business being run out of it there?
Well, it's a ministry being ran out of it. It's not a business per se.
But it's still not zoned for that purpose, is it?
Objection, form foundation qualification. Go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I wouldn't know.
But is anybody complaining about it?
I wouldn't know.
Okay, who do you think would know?
I wouldn't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. And I asked you this before, you don't have any name that you refer to 5209?
It's JMMI. I mean, we call it JMMI. It's a place that we do business.
Okay.
Ministry House.
Ministry House, is that what you call it?
It's been called JMMI, typically is what I reference at JMMI, but I've heard others call it Ministry House
And then the other one is the residential,
Center.
and that's where Mr. Taylor lives?
Mr. Taylor does not live there.
Who lives there?
Nobody lives there.
It's vacant most of the time?
It is vacant most of the time.
I'm going to show you the lease for this is the lease for that you provided for 5209 Trail Oaks Drive in Blackjack. And I'm going to ask you who let's see, why don't we mark that?
Seven?
7.
I'm going to ask you to identify this.
This is exhibit number 7, and it's a residential lease
For
for 5209 Trail Oaks Drive, Blackjack, Missouri 63033.
and who signed it?
It looks Bashira. Goodness, whose handwriting is that? Bashira's and myself, and I'm not Angel, but I can't read their handwriting, so I don't know.
You don't know who would have signed this?
I don't know their signature or their handwriting. It's not familiar to me, but I know Bashir signed it. I signed it.
Would that be
La Marcia McDonald, maybe?
so? The three of you signed a lease.
Well, Angel, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, no. It would have been myself, Marcia, and Bashira. Mm-hmm.
Is that Angels?
No, she's not the landlord. It's that Akia Ku or whatever his name is. Agio Gale or something.
Okay, and this lease expired in July of 2014.
Okay.
Have you renewed it?
We are month to month, so I haven't received a renewal.
Who pays the rent?
JMMI issues the rent, but the staff all come together, those, and Bashira and Angel and Marcia, and I help as well, and we all help pay that.
Is that through donations?
No, everybody has their own type of income.
So when you say you all come together, but JMMI pays it, how does that happen?
We give the money to Ashley to make the deposit
Into what account?
into our main account, I believe.
What are the four numbers?
I believe it's 2449.
So now you're month to month?
We are.
And who is, I'm going to butcher this name, Aguio Gale?
The landlord.
Do you know who he is?
I mean, I've met him.
Do you have a relationship with him, business or otherwise?
I do not, personally.
Does JMMI have an office in St. Louis?
Talking about in the city itself? You talking
Right.
about?
No.
Do they have any offices in Missouri?
Well, other than the Ministry Center or the JMMI,
That would be the only one.
that would be the only one.
Okay, I'm going to show you Exhibit 7 and ask you to read that name.
Adrienne Linton.
And who is that?
She used to live there. She no longer does. She was a volunteer staff member.
Is she still a volunteer?
She is.
What was your salary with JMMI?
70,000
Per year?
per year.
And when did you start receiving that?
April of 2013, I believe.
And then it stopped January 2015?
Correct.
You have a bookkeeper that you identified as Ashley Ware?
Correct.
Is there any other bookkeeper?
No.
Do you supervise Ashley?
I oversee Ashley, yes.
You primarily supervise everybody there, don't you?
Correct.
Okay. Who are the check signers?
La Marcia McDonald. Pastor Taylor's also a check signer, but he does rarely signs checks.
And who else?
La Marcia. And
You don't sign checks?
No, I don't.
La Marcia is the only person that has check signing authority?
That is correct.
Okay. Who is authorized to make charges to JMMI debit or credit accounts? Credit card.
That would be Marcia, Pastor Taylor, myself, Joseph Bush.
Who's Joseph Bush?
He's a pastor
A pastor where?
for JMMI.
Where does he reside?
He resides in Taylor, Michigan.
A pastor of which church?
Well, he's a pastor under Apostle Taylor.
For JMMI and or for, what's the church that operates out of the Taylor
He
building?
KFC, Kingdom Family.
Right. Is he a pastor
He
there?
is a pastor there, but what I'm referencing is the pastor under Joshua Media Ministries. That's what
Okay.
I've knowledge
So
of.
he can use credit cards and debit cards?
For Joshua Media Ministry, he could use the debit card. We don't have a credit card.
Who else?
Angel Jones. And that's pretty much it.
Does Deborah Frazier have one?
She does not.
And who monitors the debits taken from the account?
That's monitored through Ashley and myself.
Are there any restrictions or guidelines as to what charges people or debits people can use?
We do have restrictions in place now, yes.
When did you start those?
We've always had restrictions as to what people can do and what they could charge. But we've become even stricter with our guidelines recently.
And when is recently?
Recent as 2 weeks ago.
What were they before?
They would submit a request that they need to pay for something or they need something and it had to have a business reason.
And they would submit a paper request?
No, it would depend. Sometimes they would call in.
So if they were going to Popeye's Chicken, would they call in and ask for
They
permission?
can call in if they were meeting with a pastor, another pastor, or whatever the case may be. Say, I'm going to be meeting with this pastor. I need to, to go. We're having lunch, and this is what where we're going or whatever. And we'd say yes. That's we have the money in the account. Go ahead and do that. It's a
So each
business
and every
reason.
time somebody accessed the account with a debit card,
That is correct.
they asked for permission.
Yes.
And what are the restrictions now that are different?
Well, the restrictions now are based on the guidelines that our tax attorney had put in place.
Do all these people still have debit cards?
They do not.
Oh.
They never did. They had access to use the debit card, but they didn't have an individual debit card to use. We had a Joshua Media Ministry debit card.
One?
Well, we had one up here and then one down there, and Pastor Taylor had one, so 3.
So if somebody wanted to use it to buy food, they would have to physically go get the card from someone?
Which is why I said we have a card up here in Northeast, which Joseph Bush, Pastor Bush, has access to. And then the people down in St. Louis, which is myself, Angel, and then Pastor Taylor, obviously, because he travels.
So who carries the card from St. Louis?
We keep it in a general location there in a lockbox in St. Louis,
At the Trail Oaks?
at the Trail Oaks.
Has there been discussion about JMMI giving Deborah Frazier a debit card?
No,
Why not?
she would have no reason to have one.
Okay. Mr. Taylor testified at his deposition that you told him that Deborah Frazier had helped with the attorney fees for JMMI.
Objection, form, foundation, and also an improper method of cross-examining. But you can go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I honestly wouldn't know. I don't know what was discussed at the previous deposition.
Well, I'm telling you that Pastor Taylor testified that you advised him that Deborah Frazier had assisted with the attorney fees for JMMI. So I'm asking you to explain that, what she assisted with, and how that occurred.
I honestly
Same
don't
objection. Go ahead and answer the question.
Recall. I honestly don't recall.
You don't recall that?
I don't recall that.
You talking about the conversation?
No, I mean, I don't recall what he was referring to.
Okay, did you have a conversation with Deborah Frazier about the attorney fees?
Not that I recall, no.
Page 240. I'm going to read this into the record. On page 238 from the deposition of February 10th, I'm inquiring of Mr. Taylor as to whether Deborah Frazier paid his attorney fees. And Mr. Taylor responds, yes, I found out. Question, yes, you found out that in the amount of $7,500? Answer, I don't know exactly how much it was. Question, well, there's August 2014, there was a $7,500 deposit, and then in September of, actually I was talking about my eyes, I couldn't read, but then I corrected and say on the same day, there were income $7,500 and out goes $7,500. Frazier versus Frazier retainer fee for Hertz-Schramm. So is it your understanding, and this is JMMI's documents, that Deborah Frazier gave the $7,500 on your behalf? Answer, not that I know of, no. Question, well, what did you find out later? Answer, I found out that she paid for some legal fees for me to have an attorney so that all the details I know, yes. Would that be the Hertz-Schramm people or some other lawsuit? Answer, I don't know, I'm not sure. Question, well, is there some other lawsuit that you're involved in? Answer, no, not that I know of, no. Question, so is it your understanding that Deborah Frazier paid your legal fees to Hertz-Schramm as invoiced in and out of JMMI? Answer, I understand, I don't know who it was given to, I just heard that it happened, so you probably want to ask Michelle that. Question, when did you hear this? Answer, I can't remember, I don't know exactly. Question, who did you hear it from? Answer, Michelle shared it with me. Question, so Michelle told you that Deborah Frazier paid your legal fees? Answer, yes. So can you tell me about that exchange you had with Mr. Taylor regarding Deborah Frazier paying your attorney fees?
I honestly do not remember Deborah Frazier saying that she was going to pay, or that she paid the attorney fees. I do recall the conversation that Pastor Taylor's referring to in terms of him saying you know, we need to pay these attorney fees. We need to get these attorney fees paid for. But I do not recall.
You don't recall what?
I don't recall Deborah Fraser paying our attorney fees.
Do you recall Deborah Fraser making a donation on or around the time that you had to pay your attorney fees?
No, I do recall a conversation that I had with Deborah Fraser in speaking with her about the attorney fees from Hurt Schramm. And in my frustration, I had mentioned that to her. You know, she had asked, did you get the attorney? Because she had also wanted to get an attorney or got an attorney from Hurt Schramm. Can't remember his name. Anyway, she said, I told her I was frustrated. I said, this doesn't even have anything to do with us. You know, they're asking for attorney fees. But she never told me, okay, I'm going to go and take care of your attorney fees. No. And I did discuss that with Pastor Taylor.
That she had paid some attorney fees?
No, I discussed with him that I had talked to Deborah about our attorney fees, and that I was frustrated about that we had to pay the attorney fees.
All right, his testimony is that you told him that she was contributing in some manner to the payment of attorney fees.
If he said that, then that's the truth. If he said that, then he's absolutely correct. I just don't recall. I don't remember.
All right, so do you believe then, based on what I just read to you, that Deborah Fraser in some way contributed to the payment of the attorney fees for Hurt Schramm?
If I discussed it with Pastor Taylor and he said that I said that to him, yes. But the $7,500 that you guys are referring to in that, I do not know where that came from. No.
Okay, but you do acknowledge that Deborah Fraser in some manner contributed to the payment of attorney fees?
What I acknowledge is that if Pastor Taylor said that happened, that conversation happened.
With you and...
That is with he and I. And if he said that I told him that the attorney fees, that Deborah was contributing in some way to the attorney fees, if he said that, then that conversation did happen.
And would you be lying to Mr. Taylor at that point?
I don't lie.
Okay, so you're saying you don't recall that conversation?
I do not recall the specifics of that conversation. I do recall being upset about getting a bill or having to pay $7,500 as a third-party witness to issue a subpoena ducis tecum and supply all these documentation for a party that we're not directly involved in, yes.
So this was an offshoot of Deborah Fraser's problems that resulted in you having to hire an attorney?
Correct.
Okay. And so if Mr. Taylor says that the two of you had that conversation and that you represented Deborah Fraser paid some of your attorney fees, you're saying that would have been a truthful statement?
Absolutely. If he said it, that's true.
Okay. But you're saying you don't have any recollection of how that occurred?
I do not, no.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to,
8?
no, we're 9. Are we 9?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. That goes later. Okay, hold on to that. I'm looking for, I don't know if you took it back, the document you brought about the 7,500.
I entered into evidence over there.
Did we, no,
No.
did it get,
This one?
yes. Oops. Okay. I am going to ask you to identify exhibit number 8. You can,
Show it to me, too.
that's JMMI ledger sheets
Correct.
provided by GMMI to Mr. Frazier's counsel pursuant to discovery requests?
Yes, exhibit number 8 looks like it is a general ledger.
All right, and I'm going to ask you to read the annotation for August 27th, 2014.
It says source not disclosed yet.
The whole line.
8/27/2014, source not disclosed yet, amount $7,500, and then the balance.
The balance in that account.
Correct.
Okay, and then these are copies, so it's a little hard to read. Then another arrow for August 27th, 2014, if you can read that line across.
It says 8/27/2014, Shram, check 6096 maybe. Retainer fee for Frazier versus Frazier, negative $7,500.
Okay. Now, who would have physically prepared this document?
Ashley Ware.
But you oversee Ashley.
Correct.
Okay. So when this says source not disclosed yet, what does that mean to you?
Knowing Ashley, it means that she didn't have the information, but she knew she had to try to get it if she could.
Would it mean that she was aware that a donation was made, but not by whom?
It absolutely does mean that. If she received a deposit in and she checks the accounts every day, then she would have something in there. But as you can see, there was no record as to who deposited that.
All right, I'm going to ask you to review the exhibits 2.1 and 2.2. And just, is it accurate that after you paid the $7,500, there was a balance of $18,915 in that account?
That is correct.
And is that the main account?
This would have been the main account, yes, ma'am.
All right, so Exhibit 2.1, what is your understanding of what that is?
This is a counter credit or counter deposit. This says out-of-state counter deposit. And this document is an account activity transaction detail.
And what is 2.2?
And 2.2, Exhibit 2.2 is an expense account activity summary. And it shows check number counter credit of $7,500. And then a check, 8/26/2014, a check for $60.96. It's for $7,500. But the date on the counter credit shows that it's 8/27.
And the check's dated?
8/26. And this also shows the counter credit for 8/27.
What's this? What you were
2.1.
referring to, Ms. Brannon?
2.1.
Was that 2.1 you were referring to?
2/1, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 2/1.
And you don't know who wrote this counter credit for the deposit of the $7,500?
I do not know who wrote that.
And would it be fair to say that Ashley Ware would have tracked down who the source of this deposit for $7,500 was?
It's not fair to say no. I asked her and she didn't know.
If she physically handled a check that was a deposit or contribution, Wouldn't she have marked down who it was from?
If she knew who it was from, if she didn't know who wrote it, she wouldn't have.
But if you're looking at a check,
She didn't look at a check. It looked like it was a counter deposit that she was not aware of. Per Exhibit 2-1, it shows a counter credit by out-of-state counter credit. We're in Missouri. This was done somewhere else.
so it's your belief that somebody went to the bank and deposited $7,500 in the general account
That is correct.
in an out-of-state location.
That is correct.
And you don't know the source of it?
I do not.
And Ashley does, according from what your conversations with Ashley are, she does not know the source of it.
That is correct.
Wouldn't that be important to know because of tax reasons?
No, not necessarily. If somebody wants to give an anonymous donation, which we get quite often, it's up to them as to whether or not they want to be notified.
But it's not anonymous if it's a check and there are names on it.
Well, it's not a check. It looked like it was a counter deposit. They could have deposited with cash.
I think this is marked check on the ticket.
No, it doesn't look like it's marked check. All of those have check next to them.
Right, that line is check.
Yeah, well, I don't have a copy of it, and I can't say this is what we received, was this. And it could have been, I don't know, I'm not just gonna even speculate.
Where did you get this document?
From Ashley. I had her print it off. Anything as related to the, per your subpoena, addendum to the subpoena, you had asked for anything that we have pertaining to the $7,500. And that's what I asked her to pull, whatever she could, and that's what she gave me.
So the same day or within 24 hours or so, that you have to pay $7,500 to Hertz Schramm as the retainer.
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer your
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you were going.
You get what you say is an anonymous contribution of $7,500.
That is correct.
And you say that you have no way of knowing who deposited that for you at an out-of-state location.
That is correct.
And around that time or thereabouts, you had a conversation with Deborah Frazier where you expressed some exasperation about having to pay $7,500 to an attorney to represent JMMI with regard to her issues.
That is correct.
Did you express any displeasure with Deborah Frazier at that time?
I never had displeasure towards her. It was towards the situation.
Okay. Let's see if we can clip those together. Okay, the July stuff. Oh, it is. That's also that. And if we can go off the record for 1 minute. This,
We are going off the record. It is 11:23 a.m. We are back on the record. It is 11:26 a.m.
I have that one this way. I am going to ask you to identify what's marked as, just going to put this over here so we don't
Okay.
get piles. What's marked as Deposition Exhibit 9-2.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Is it Doris?
you to identify that?
Yes, Exhibit 9-2, it's a deposit and credit banks, part of the bank statement off of account ending in 2449.
From JMMI?
Correct, Joshua Media Ministries.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you to look at the two dates that are circled as July 14th, 2014, and ask you to read that across.
Okay. 7/14/14 counter credit 5,000 and 7/14/14 counter credit 5,000.
What's your understanding of a counter credit?
As I stated earlier, a counter credit is when you would make a credit or a deposit over the, at the bank.
At the bank in person? Yes?
Yes.
Can you tell where that deposit was made?
Can I tell? No, it just says counter credit and then 5,000 and 5,000.
Okay, I'm going to show you Exhibit 9-1. Ask you to identify that.
Okay. Exhibit 9-1. This is one of the general ledger that Ashley keeps.
Okay. And there are two circles on that document, and it's around July 12th, 2014.
You want me to read it across?
Right.
Okay. July 12th, 2014. Source is JMMI. June Crusade Promise Seed from Deborah Frazier, $5,000 in a balance. And then 7/12/2014, JMMI June Crusade Promise Seed from Deborah Frazier, $5,000.
All right, so from your understanding of these two documents, would it be accurate that Deborah Frazier donated $10,000 to JMMI Ministry on or about July 12th, 2014?
That is correct.
Do you have any idea as to why the donations are listed in two separate line items, both on 9-1 and 9-2?
I do not know why, honestly.
Okay, so you don't know do you know if it was in cash or check?
I do not know if it was in cash or check.
Is that something Ashley would know?
It's possible, yes.
Is that something you can ask her and find out?
Yes, I can.
Is Ashley working available today?
She is.
Okay. All right, so then I'm going to show you what was marked as,
About that?
Yes,
I
I
already
know.
did.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Wait, she wanted just a note, so to remember to ask Ashley the
Okay.
question you just asked her.
and you made a note of that,
I have made a note of that.
and a few others.
Well, that's the big one so far, I guess.
I'm also going to show you what is marked not only as Exhibit 1 from February 11th, 2015, but today we've marked it for today's purposes as March 12th, 2015, and ask you to identify that.
Okay. Exhibit number 10. This is for Joshua Media Ministries. Detailed statement, January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2014 for Deborah Frazier.
And can you read line item 612, 2014?
6/12/2014, it says Crusade donation, $10,000.
And what does this column say?
It says check number,
And then,
tax.
and what does tax mean?
I have no idea what that means on that report statement.
Could it mean, if you know, that they were given the 99s showing the,
Well, that's what this
Objection,
is.
she- Objection, she
The-
said she didn't know.
this isn't,
This is her statement for her tax return.
okay.
This is Debbie's.
And who would have drafted this document?
Ashley,
Probably Ashley. Can you ask her what tax means on this?
yes, I can.
So these three documents taken together from your business records would substantiate that Deborah Frazier made a $10,000 contribution in July 2014 to JMMI.
That is correct.
Okay. Do you recall or do you know if you personally were involved in any of this in terms of Deborah handing you the check or
Deborah,
processing it?
I'm sorry, Deborah would not have handed me a check, no.
No?
And I do not recall any of personal dealings with this, no.
Do you not receive money personally?
On occasion, people will hand me an offering envelope, and then it goes into, we have two people who count
The cash?
the cash.
Offering envelopes usually cash?
No, it could be credit cards on top of the offering envelope, yes.
They write their credit card
It
information?
has a space for credit card information.
That's something I would feel comfortable doing. That's, or, about that. So who would be the possibilities of who Deborah handed these funds to on this date?
Objection, Foreman Foundation. Go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I wouldn't have any idea.
You don't know?
I
You don't-
would not know.
Nobody marks who received the money,
No.
or for what source, whether it was the offering or somebody handed somebody the check. He's just telling you not to answer
Yes,
it.
wait till she finished the question, exactly. Go ahead, answer.
There's no mechanism for that kind of accounting?
When somebody gives an offering, if they do not want it to be anonymous, they complete an offering envelope, and it goes into if it's during a service, it'll go into an offering bucket. If it's not during service and they just want to make a natural donation over the phone or whatever, it's different. It comes in different ways. If they have it documented on an offering envelope, we do record that and do have record of that.
Okay, if someone mails in a donation, is there any mechanism where you indicate this was mailed in as opposed to an offering bucket?
Yes, to answer your question, if it was a document or an offering envelope that let me rephrase that. If it was an offering that was received at the place that we do business in St. Louis, either via mail, PayPal, over the phone on a credit card, we keep record of that separately and document this is how this came in. If it was during service and they put it down on an offering envelope, we have record of that.
So you do differentiate by what means the offering came in.
Correct.
So then why don't we have that for the $7,500?
Because we don't have record of who gave that donation.
But it's by check.
Well, we do not have it listed by check.
You, well, this document would indicate it's made by check. Across the line, it says check 7,500, and this was apparently made at the counter, and your other document shows source not yet disclosed. Do you believe that the scenario was that someone out of state, out of town, went and deposited into your account, yours meaning JMMI, a check for $7,500, and because it didn't get mailed in or through the offering bucket, you didn't know who it was from, or you indicated you didn't know.
What I believe is that I don't know if it was a check or cash. We looked, we do not have record of a check. There was $7,500 that was donated, and it was put into our account.
Right, if they directly took the check to this out-of-state bank, you wouldn't have a copy of that.
We
True.
wouldn't have a copy if they took it and deposited from out of state, unless they made it payable to JMMI. I do not have copies of checks, no.
You didn't ask the bank for a copy of the check?
We have no copy of a check.
No, you didn't ask the bank for a copy of the check that somehow mysteriously gets deposited.
Ashley called the bank, and what she was supplied was what I showed you on Exhibit 2-1. Sorry, it would be 2-1, this one. And this is what was given to us, a counter credit and a deposit transaction detail. I do not have a copy of the check.
No, I understand that,
Okay.
but you could get that through your account.
According to Ashley, there was no check deposited. That's what I'm saying.
She believes it was cash?
We believe it was cash.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that before.
I'm sorry.
So Ashley believes it was cash
That is correct.
from an anonymous source that somehow had all your account information.
Which is correct.
Would you give your account information over the phone to somebody that was anonymous?
No, not anonymous. If it was somebody who had wired money in our account before, they would have our credit card. They would have our bank account information.
Deborah Frazier's wired money in before, hasn't she?
She has.
So you believe she would already have the account number?
It's possible.
Do you know, have you ever seen Deborah Frazier's handwriting?
I have seen it.
Would you be able to have an opinion as to whether that was Deborah Frazier's handwriting?
I would not.
You would not know?
No.
Okay. So, based on your conversations with Ashley, you believe that somebody went to an out-of-state branch of Bank of America and deposited $7,500 in cash. It did not disclose their name to you, but had the bank account numbers.
That is correct.
And then the very same day, according to your ledger, which is marked Exhibit number 8, a $7,500 check goes out to Hertz Schramm for a retainer for Frazier versus Frazier.
That is correct.
Okay. I don't know if I asked you on those the two $5,000 donations that Deborah made in July 2014. Do you know, or is it possible? Did it go March?
This one.
Right. Do you know if these were in cash?
Objection to the foundation, you can answer.
Exhibit 9-2, I have no way of knowing what it was.
Would Ashley know?
She would not know unless it was listed on an offering envelope.
But when you make a deposit, wouldn't you have to show that on your deposit slip?
It depends on how it was made.
Well, it says counter credit.
Right, this was a counter credit of $5,000.
Right. So somebody, would it be your understanding, went to the counter and deposited this?
This, yes, somebody went and made a deposit for the two $5,000 checks or cash or whatever it is.
Okay, and now that's the same day. That's the same day that you received the check, I'm sorry, the funds from Deborah Frazier for the June Crusade, is it not?
Objection. There are too many disjunctions there. Could you rephase it so we're clear on what you're trying to connect?
The 7/14/2014 counter credits for $5,000 each. See that?
Yes.
Okay. That is the same day you received a $10,000 offering or donation from Deborah Frazier, is it not?
Correct.
Okay. And that was based on the June Crusade? She, I think we showed you a document where it was referenced as seed money from the June Crusade, and she actually made the donation in July.
I don't know.
Let me show you. The July 12th statements that we had you read.
Yes. July 12th, this was her promise, it looks like her promise seed for $5,000 and her crusade promise seed for $5,000.
Okay, and that's listed as,
This is on Exhibit 1, and
Right.
it's for July 12th.
all right, is it your understanding that, this one. Yeah, that was attached. Oh, I'm sorry. Where'd you get this from?
Because you had it right here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show you deposition exhibit number 10. Is it your understanding that the June 12, 2014 Crusade donation listed on exhibit 10 of $10,000 actually references a promise made in June to pay that amount, and the funds were actually received July 12, 2014?
Yes, because it's listed June Crusade Promise Seed.
Okay, so these two documents, in your opinion, are consistent?
Correct.
Referencing one donation of $10,000 promised in June, actually received in July.
Yes. And you're referring to Exhibit 10.
10 and 1.
Yes.
Okay. So who would know, or what document would show, whether these donations, which you have identified as from Deborah Frazier, were by check or cash?
Ashley, and I can ask her.
Okay. 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 All right, so can you talk to Ashley about that?
I can.
Want to make another note about that one? These are documents that are kept in the regular course of your business?
Which documents are you talking about, Counsel?
Still the same, 1, 10, and 9-2?
Yes, the 9-2 is a bank statement. And number 10, Exhibit 10, is Debbie's detailed statement for her tax purposes that's issued in January of every year of whoever's given. And Exhibit 1 is a general ledger that we do maintain in the daily course of business.
All right, and so all these are things that you maintain in the regular course of business?
That is correct.
And all these documents are documents that you have access to and knowledge of based on your position as, I forgot what you told me your title was. What was your title?
Executive officer.
Executive officer. Is that true?
Can you ask that again?
These documents that we just identified, they're kept in regular course of business, and that's true.
That is true.
And as executive
Officer.
officer, you have knowledge of these documents and are aware of their contents.
I am now, yes, that is correct.
Okay, and you are able to, when you say I have now, is that because you never had reason to have to look at them specifically, these specific ones?
I've never looked at these specific ones before now.
Okay, but you know they exist
Correct.
and that these kind of documents are generated on a regular basis.
Correct.
And that if you have need to look at a particular one, you have access to it.
Correct.
And that you, in fact, did access these kinds of documents to pull these specific ones related to Deborah Frazier.
Correct.
All right, and these were provided by JMMI in response to discovery requests.
Correct.
All right, and so you've indicated that you have personal knowledge of these documents and that you've reviewed them prior to coming to this deposition today.
No, I reviewed them, unfortunately, right now, and we just went over them.
Okay. Is that because you've given us boxes of documents and you didn't personally touch each one?
That's correct.
Okay. But you have knowledge of these as having been kept in the regular course of business with JMMI
Correct.
in your role as executive
Officer.
officer. I want to say administrator, but that's wrong. Okay. Okay, change.
We are going off the record. It is 11:48 a.m.